Hello all and welcome to a new video on the Third Man Musings. We have already previewed four sides now for the IPL. As the excitement now gears up further, today we'll be previewing the fifth side, which is quite a fan favorite side, which is CSK Chennai Super Kings. So CSK has had the reputation of being a very strong team, right? They have qualified for most of the playoffs across the seasons. They've hardly had poor years, maybe one or two poor years, but other than that, they are a guaranteed side for the playoffs. In fact, the joke generally is the IPL
Hmm.
is generally played to see which other three teams will make it for the playoffs, right? So that is the amount of consistency that they have, and they also have a lot of idol worship because MS Dhoni has obviously been the captain for 15 years with this side now, and a very popular side. So last year was a disappointing year for them. They finished second last, in fact. But let's see if they are able to turn the tide back this year and make it to the playoffs. Sumit, what are your thoughts on CSK? Will this be the year for them again?
Yeah, so just last year was an aberration, I would say, because they were trying to have a change of captaincy after Dhoni being in the helm for all the seasons, and they tried Jadeja. Some issues happened. Multiple theories around that, whether Jadeja wasn't happy with the role he had as a captain, because everybody considered Dhoni is too big a person, right? I mean, the status he has, the demigod status he has for CSK, so that was always going to be a challenge. So with Dhoni in the team, and he's the brains of the operation, and he is your best captain. So it was always going to be difficult for to do this transition. I think we were lucky when this transition happened between Dhoni and Kohli for the Indian cricket team, but for CSK, clearly it went very wrong. So that was one factor, and the second was Deepak Chahar, who was bought for 14 crores, and then he was out for the season. So that was the biggest blow they could have because he was the only Indian pacer they had, and then they had to depend on two greenhorns instead of the one. So those two factors combined to give them a very unstable season. So this season, at least the consistency should be there with Dhoni at the helm, and this might. I mean, we keep saying this might be his last season. We don't know how because this guy's so
It's
fit.
been like
So I
that
mean,
for the last 2, 3 years, right? Every year people think it's the last season, but then
but
he does
somehow
surprises every
he
time.
has the most like strange routine. He's in his farmhouse, and his latest videos on YouTube for his batting. Now he's bulked up. I think he's going to be a power hitter. So uh, the genius guy. I look forward to it. I mean, I want to see how it does it this time, and maybe this is the transition year. Maybe that's why Ben Stokes was brought in. Maybe to get him acclimatized, and next season he takes over, and then Basball comes into Chennai Super Kings, which should be funny because Chennai is not that kind of team. So a lot of things to look forward to. So let's see. Let's go with the squad, and there are some deficiencies still. So we'll
Yeah.
go over that.
Yeah, as Sumit mentioned, there are some gaps in the squad, but if you see, there are some really, really good players, right? Starting off with the batsman, Ruturaj Gaikwad has been one of the shining lights for CSK over the last 2, 3 years. Very consistent batsman, very technically correct. You will hardly see him slogging, but he's made the runs. He's been consistently scoring 400 runs or so in the IPL over the last couple of years, so they'll be looking forward to him. Ambati Raidu is, in the vein of his career now, not scoring as consistently. Maybe has a couple of good innings, in the IPLs over the last couple of years. This year, he'll be hoping that he'll be more consistent. Conway, I have been a fan of his.
Hmm.
Very underrated batsman, but has an all-round game. Can block the ball as well and can go big as well. He did well in the recent T20 World Cup. So CSK and a very CSK type player, right? Very industrious and very underrated, but he'll be another one to watch out for this year. Rahane and Dhoni have been. Superstars for Indian cricket, but Dhoni also is now 41, obviously, and he might come in the lower order, hardly facing maybe 10 or 15 balls an innings. So, but it will be need to be seen if he'll make that impact, right? Maybe get 30 out of 50. And Rahane, we see if he gets a chance in the playing level. They've taken him, so they have a good backup batsman after Uttapa moved out. So let's see whether Rahane gets a game, but he'll be mostly a backup batsman. Sumit, your thoughts on the all rounders? The all rounders are the backbone here, right?
Yes, they are the engine room of this team, and they are the best stock team in for all rounders in the IPL, I believe. Very like good quality all rounders who can play as sole batsmen and sole bowlers. So Sir Jadeja is there, who's just come back from injury, and he's looking brilliant. Like he's playing his match-winning innings with bowling, batting, and fielding was obviously his strong suit. Ben Stokes is the addition where they went hammer and tongs for him for the in the auction, and I was very surprised when he landed here, honestly, because CSK did not have the budget, but CSK somehow got this guy, and that's going to. I mean, that I think ties up to Bazball, Stephen Fleming as your coach, so maybe they're going on that road. Moeen Ali has been very destructive, and one of the RCB products who was badly used there, and then when he came to CSK, he became like he was used as how he should be used, a power batter, bowl and play. When he bowled with matchups, basically when there were left-handers, he would bowl and give you good 2-3 overs. Deepak Chahar will be the missing link and should plug in that gap. Sandner is a very decent backup where he is going to give you control with his bowling and good batting. He recently in that match, right, that Bracewell and Santner against India, so
Right.
he showed his prowess with the big hitting. I never thought he was like a big hitter, but yeah, Shivam Dube, he blossomed somehow last year, and we amongst us the joke was that he's a Lawrence Klusner. So he bats left-handed, he bowls medium pace. But yeah, he'd had a decent season. Then he fell off once Dhoni became the captain. Then he wasn't played also. So let's see how he pans out. And Pretorius again is a good backup when they need to change the combination a bit. The bowlers, so very few bowlers as you can see, because Dhoni likes his options. He likes to have 6, 7 bowlers in a lineup minimum, and he rotates them. So you can see less pure bowlers here. But yeah, he has a thing. I mean, he likes the Sri Lankan bowlers clearly. There are two mystery bowlers here, right?
Right. So Thikshana was very impressive last year. I liked his
Mm.
variations, right? And many batsmen struggled to pick him. So Thikshana, we expect should feature in all the games, and especially at the Chepauk, he might become even more deadly with his variations, right? So he'll be a good one. Mukesh Chaudhary initially was struggling. I remember him
Yes.
dropping a few catches and then getting hit in the game first few games. But I think as the games went on and he got more confidence, he did end up with 15 or so wickets.
Hmm.
Pathirana will be an interesting one. So for folks who might not know much about him, he has a slingy bowling action like Malinga. So maybe the CSK management sees some potential in him
Hmm.
as an X factor bowler, right? Somebody who comes in with that different action. So interesting picks, and let's see if they give him a go. What are your thoughts on the greenhorns, Sumit? Especially Hungrekar, I think, has
Yes.
been touted as the one of the finds for CSK, right, in the
So it was
future.
one of the most surprising things last season where he wasn't tried even when things were clear that CSK won't qualify. But this
Hmm.
season again, we are seeing the Nets videos for CSK and he's bowling at 150 clicks. This might be the season. And one of the things about Dhoni is that when he tries a player, he gives him a full run. It is not a case of playing just 2 matches, something like what Punjab does, right? So he'll play a good 7, 8 matches at least to show his potential. So maybe this is the season they try him out. And one good thing is with Cheherin, last year they had to find two Indian pacers. So this year they at least need one Indian pacer only. And this could be anybody. So Shadesh Pandey was tried, Simarjeet was tried. So Simarjeet had was trying with the new ball and he was swinging the ball, but the lack of pace was his biggest enemy because in the death overs he would get hit. So one of these guys is definitely going to get a go, and let's hope it's Hungary because he can hit the long ball as well from what I've read about him. So let's see. And coming to the playing 11, so Ruturaj Gaikwad is going to be a very important player. He normally starts IPLs very slowly. Even last year, he was a bit of a slow starter. Then ended up being the maximum run getter. So he needs to have a stellar season, and his India chances are also impacted due to the bad IPL. And when he was tried for India, he didn't do so well. So this is a very critical IPL to get back into the reckoning, because again, you might have a reset after the World Cup. So he wants to be there. And Devon Conway, like you mentioned, a seasoned pro, and reminds me of Michael Hussey because he was also a late bloomer and he
Right.
has a similar batting approach where he can be slow, he can consolidate, or he can completely go for the helter skelter and give you the quick start. So very good opening combination. And the good thing with Rahane is, in case Conway is not working out, they have a backup opener because I don't see Rahane fitting in the middle order honestly with his skill set. So they might play Rahane for Conway if required, and then they can play another foreigner in the middle or lower order. So that's a good opening start. And then your 3, 4, 5, 6, I think is going to be very rotationary. I mean, this we have kept it like this, but it can be anything depending on the situation. That's one good thing Chennai has with flexibility. They shuttle the batsman up and down. So you see any changes here? Since Jadeja may be coming at four, probably.
Yeah, well, because even in the Indian team nowadays, you see Jadeja comes higher up the
Hmm.
order, sometimes even at five, right? So here also, I
Mhm.
think, basis the situation, if early wickets fall, Jadeja has now become that sort of solid batsman in the middle order, right? So if
Mhm.
Chennai are, let's say, 20 for 3 on a given day, you can see Jadeja coming up also. But Sumit, an interesting thing here, and would love to hear your thoughts on that. Number two is a left-hander, three is a left-hander, four is a
Yeah,
left-hander, six is a left-hander, right? So
yeah,
many left-handers, and Raidu, one the sole right-hander in between. So if Shivam Dubey, despite his success last year, is played, it becomes five
mm,
continuous left-handers from two to
yeah.
six. What are your thoughts on that one?
And that's the reason where even we thought, right? They need
Right.
to break the monotony. Normally, teams have a issue of not having a left-hander. Like our Indian cricket team, they need to fit a left-hander to break the mold of having all the right-handers.
Right.
So Chennai has a different problem, and it is a problem because so many of off spinners will come into play with the matchups. So they cannot. I mean, it's unfair to Dubey, but you cannot have four left-handers in the middle order. That's going to be problematic. I don't see Dhoni promoting himself this season, so he's going to always come at the back end. If it is crunch situation, he needs to finish a chase or just go for power hitting. So you cannot promote Cheher ahead of all these people also, right? Because he's a decent bat, but not so much that you send him at four. So that's a rare problem CSK has got themselves into with no right-handers, and that's why the Dubey Raidu combination we've given, because Raidu somehow does a decent job. I think he was the third highest run getter for them despite his lack of form last year. So it's one of the things I've not seen when we were making the best 11. That's when he
Yeah.
said, "Okay, this is a very strange problem."
Yeah.
So
Team
let's
send a
see.
left-hander for variety, CSK sends a right-hander
Right
for
hander.
variety. So,
They
yeah.
don't have one also. That's the problem. They have Dhoni who wouldn't do that, and Chair is a bit much to send a three or four.
Yeah.
So let's hope Ruturaj. That's why Ruturaj is so critical in that sense also, because if he goes, you just have left hand is coming all over. So he needs to be at one end to rotate the strike. So yeah.
Yeah.
After that, yeah, 7-8 can be flexible. I mean, we've seen Chahar being used like a pinch hitter and, just to close out a match. So I won't be surprised if Dhoni bats at 8 even at times. And this comes for the finishing touch. Bowling wise, yeah, I think these three should be our bowlers. I mean, Mukesh Chaudhary is way ahead of all the greenhorns. That's why we didn't class him as a greenhorn because he did a decent job. I think he'll get a longer run in this IPL. So, yeah.
The only one player I feel for in this team is Santner, right? Such a quality
Hmm.
player,
Yeah.
but over the last 2 3 years we have seen with CSK he hardly gets one or two games every season, right? And maybe if
Hmm.
he had been in some other franchise, he would have maybe got more chances. But this year, don't forget we are back at Chepok, right? And Chepok
Hmm.
usually, if you see this current lineup right now, apart from Tikshana, all the others are in the bowling at least are pacers, right? Then you will have to
Yeah.
depend on Moin Ali and
Jadeja.
Ravindra Jadeja.
Hmm. Hmm.
But you never know. At Chepok, Santner might come into the mix, and maybe some other foreigner in the top order might
Yeah.
be substituted. So this
That's
year
what.
could be crucial for Santner.
That's very like instead of Conway, get a Rahane in, and then you can Santner in because he can bat at 6 or 7 also.
Right.
Again, a left-hander, another issue, so doesn't solve that problem. So yeah, it looks. One notable thing is availability of Ben Stokes. He's also one of the impact players. So let's discuss that. So he is the England captain. He's struggling with a bit of a knee injury, so there were some rumors that he might not be playing. But he has confirmed yesterday that he is coming to CSK, so all's good. But however, they have a match with Ireland on 1st of June. So, and I think the IPL final is on 28th May. So he very clearly said because he is the England captain that he will be returning a bit sooner to get prepared for Ireland and after that the Ashes series. So that's one thing I see as a big issue that he might not be available for the knockouts, and yeah, that might derail the campaign. Point to be noted: Ben Stokes is not a great T20 player. I mean, if you look at
Right.
his record, the
Hmm.
average and both bowling and batting aren't so great.
He's a better
So,
test player and a ODI player, right, than a T20
hmm,
player.
hmm.
Yeah.
But he comes up with these memorable knocks, even in the World Cup final T20. He was the only one who was standing there right till the end. Then he muscled his way to a victory. So clutch player. That's one of the things about him. He's part of these magical finishes always. That's why he's my impact player. And again, a prospective future captain. I think Ruturaj might be a bit behind now with the bad
Yeah.
form he had recently. So I see Ben Stokes as a future captain, which brings us to the next impact player. Yeah, the which is very important for him, his career and CSK as well. Ruturaj.
Right, right. Obviously, and in the initially he showed so much spark, right? I mean, so technically correct. He was getting good runs. He was not slogging, but still was very effective. I remember, I think, couple of his innings were breathtaking, right? He was that good. But then again, there has been a consistency problem when he's played for India a few innings also. There has been disappointment. But let's see. I think this could be the year again for Ruturaj. Obviously there will be a lot more responsibility on him this year, considering, as we spoke about, so many left-handers, so he will bring in that variety. And in the power play up front also, they'll expect a lot from Ruturaj, so I feel this year will be the year that he has to step up. Sumit, your thoughts on Deepak Chahar, provided he's injury free? He's a
Yeah, that's
fantastic player, but he's just not managed to keep his injuries at bay, right, recently.
yes. So he's again one of those players who becomes fit by the IPL as per our Indian cricket teams, and whoever's not been playing, they all come in the IPL to show their fitness. So he has that chance, and Dhoni has really groomed him so well. I mean, he was initially just a new ball bowler, then he started bowling the death and developed his Yorkers. So they struggled with the new ball in last IPL because they could not take the wickets up front. This guy, with his natural ability to swing, will be giving you the breakthroughs, which is so important for your starting, right?
Right.
So he is a big player, and they've spent 14 crores on him on the last to last auction. So expect big things from him in terms of opening the bowling, ending the bowling, and then even batting right at the end. So he's giving you a lot of assets. So for me, an MVP type of player like Jadeja just needs to stay on the park long enough. And again, he's also fighting for an Indian spot. So his direct competition is Shardul. So
Shardul
we
Thakur.
really we think about it, between Shardul and Deepak. Any day Deepak is a better bowler, but somehow Shardul gets the wickets. That our theory is that people try to hit him out. That's why they get out. Maybe that's why. And as a
Yeah.
batter, also, I like Deepak better. I mean, from whatever I've seen, technically he's better than Shardul. Shardul will just like hustle and bustle, and he just hits out. A lot of heart that guy has. I mean, nothing against that, but Deepak is a very ideal candidate for the number 8 slot, which India might still tweak going into the World Cup with the other three bowlers sorted. So very big IPL for him as well.
Right. And then obviously now, what are the chances, Sumit? Because this team looks like they have the potential to make it to the
Hmm.
playoffs. And being CSK, one of the most successful
Yeah,
franchises, you would back them to make it to the playoffs. But if I am the
yeah.
opposition on a given day, I know the batting is terrific. The bowling is decent, but still you can
Hmm.
attack bowlers like, let's say, Simarjeet or Angrekar or Mukesh Chaudhary, and that's virtually
Hmm.
8 overs where you can go big, right? So will that be
Hmm.
the Achilles heel for them?
It can be, but that's where Dhoni has stocked it up with 7 options probably. So he will and he loves to rotate the bowlers, give them 1 over spells. So that variety will be there. And at the end, T20 captaincy is so important in T20, and that's where I think CSK has the edge. And Dhoni still has that mental fortitude in terms of a captain, and just having those wacky decisions on the field which surprise everybody, that what is he thinking, why is he doing this. He still has that at 41. And I think that captaincy element combined with getting Ben Stokes, having Chahar if fit, they are like a legacy team, right? Am I right? So I expect them to play. This might be his last year again, maybe. So maybe they want to send it off with a victory. So all those factors combined, I'm fairly confident they'll come into top four, because they're one of the teams which don't fall off the cliff. Like Punjab is there; they would win 4 in a row, then lose 6 in a row.
Yeah,
CSK, the good thing is they lose one, they bounce back, win one. So they always have a very 7-8-6 record or 7-7 record out of 14 game IPL. This year we have more games, so they're
right.
always there. So I expect them to be right at the end and not fall off the cliff like last year, because they lost 4 of the last 5. So I see them coming into the top four, even if fourth only on internet even, but I think they'll be through. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So that, folks, that was our analysis on CSK. Let us know your thoughts. Will this be the year of Whistle Podu once again? Will it be Thala's grand farewell where he, wins on a high and goes then into retirement? That will be very interesting to see. All you
Mm.
CSK fans, do let us know. This is our playing 11 as per the squad, but do let us know your thoughts if there are any players we missed, and if there is a better playing 11 than this, and who, according to you, will be the impact players this time around for CSK. So on that note, it's a wrap from Sumit and I, and look forward to a next preview video. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. See you next time from Third Man Musings. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you.